Ever wondered what truly sets unforgettable hospitality apart from just another stay? This is the Global Hospitality Collective podcast, where we go beyond the surface to uncover the stories of short-term rental and vacation rental leaders who are reshaping our industry. Every other week, authors behind the Hospitable Host book series unpack the real strategies, lessons, and heart-led decisions driving meaningful change in hospitality. So if you're ready to challenge the status quo and elevate the way you host, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Hi hosts, this is Tanya coming at you with an awesome guest today with the Global Hospitality Collective. This man and his wife Jen wrote in the Hospitable Host Couples book that just came out in, I think it was either February or March of 2026.
Yes.
Yes, it was. It was Valentine's Day. Well, I'm really excited to talk to him a little bit about his story today and talk a little bit about hospitality. So, Joe, you want to give... Well, welcome. Sorry, Joe Rohne. Please give everybody a quick synopsis of what you got going on, where you function, what you got going on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. My wife and I jumped into short-term rentals early 2022. We'd been wanting to do it for a while, but our kids were really involved in select level sports and traveling all over. So we jumped in and we decided to go to the Emerald Coast. So we're in Panama City Beach. We own properties in Panama City Beach. We co-host an additional 9 properties down there. And I am a realtor for the 𝐸 STR agent team, and I am the team leader of the 𝐸 Emerald Coast Group.
That's awesome. So you said you co-host about 9 or 10, and then do you own a large portfolio, small portfolio?
So we actually owned 3. We just sold 2. We're getting ready to buy 2 more. So, part of that pumpkin plan, level up, so sometimes you got to go backwards to move forward, and we're kind of in the process of that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that you mentioned the pumpkin plan, because obviously then that means you're, is it Mikowski? Mike Michalowicz. Okay. Yeah. Such a good book series. Tell me, how did you get into co-hosting? Did you need to? Did you want to?
It's interesting. When we first bought our first short-term rental, I had another investor that wanted to get into short-term rentals that I was helping him as a realtor in St. Louis. And he's like, I want to buy one of those. So we ended up buying 2 within like 2 weeks of each other because I partnered with him on the second one. Mm-hmm. And I was at a dinner like 3 months later. And I was at a dinner with somebody who owned a cabin in Branson, and he was complaining about his manager. And I'm like, I've been doing this for 3 months. I could probably manage your cabin really well. And I had just gone through joined Bill Faith's accelerator program because I wanted to be in the room with the best and learn from some of the best. And he had a full co-hosting training program in his accelerator. And so we got our first co-hosting client like 5 months after buying our first property. And we realized this is the way that we can scale because we don't come from unlimited funds or a very wealthy background. So we're like, okay, we could build a co-hosting business and that could fund more down payments. And that's why we jumped into it.
That's awesome. How long ago was this? Have you been doing
our first co-hosting property actually went live January of 23. Okay. So not too long.
Oh, no, that's awesome. And do you feel like co-hosting is still, you don't regret it or anything like that?
No, I really like it. I've never built the business to become one of these property managers with 200 properties. That sounds awful to me. We're sitting around 10. We were actually up to 14. We just pumpkin planned back down to 10. We're going to probably pick up 2 more this year. And like that 12 number, I think is a really good number for us. One of the things that I'm excited about pumpkin planning, I just posted this the other day. In March of 2024, on 10 properties, we did $113,000 in gross revenue. And in March of 2025, in March in 2026, we're at $198,000 on 10 properties in gross revenue. And all we did is pick up 4 quality properties and drop 4 underperforming properties that didn't quite meet our standard.
That's fantastic. And I love stories like this. And I honestly think it's one of the most important things a new co-host can hear about is that just because you want more properties doesn't mean they function the same. So did you just come up with a new strategy on what fits in your portfolio, or how did you decide that?
So we actually had a pretty unique strategy from day one. When we got into co-hosting, we said, all right, we want to make super properties. So the only way we're going to take on a property is if the owners let us go in and redesign them. And that very first property was a cabin in Branson, and it was a 4-bedroom cabin, and they gave us a $4,000 budget. Um, and the most recent property we did, we had an $80,000 budget. But in every single property, my wife is a designer. She goes through and we pretty much take all the furniture out of the house, bring in all new furnishings. I'm personally in there doing wallpaper murals and doing shiplap, and we're hiring some crews to come in and do painting and flooring. So every property we now co-host, we completely renovated start to finish. Those first 4 properties that we no longer co-host were not in that same, they didn't really fit our portfolio because we didn't have the budget in the beginning, and we just kind of took them as is. And then we said, okay, if we're going to do this, let's do it right.
Yeah, I love, like, I'm not kidding. This is the best message ever. I've talked to a few property managers or co-hosts that talk about this, that it's about what fits into your portfolio and how you guys do things, because something that performs at a 3 or a 4 does not perform the same as a 5, and they don't look the same. The guests aren't the same. Like, the process isn't like just nothing. So I love that you changed that. Do you now only co-host in Emerald Coast area, or do you co-host other places?
No, we dropped our 2 in Branson. So we put our very first 2 were in Branson, and then our next 2 were properties in PCB that they didn't allow us to redesign anything. But I wanted to get my foot in the door in PCB after owning there, so I took them on. And they were great owners to work for. They just didn't have the vision and the budget to let us do what needs to be done. And now, I mean, we're taking houses and like one of our most recent 2, we actually have 2 bachelorette themed ones down in Panama City Beach now. And man, they are 2 of our top performing properties. We actually just had Chanel West Coast, if you know who she is, stay at one of our properties last week.
Cool.
And she absolutely loved it. She was playing in town or rapping at a club one night, and she did a bunch of Instagram stuff for us. So we have an Instagram PCB girls trips now for our 2 bachelorette houses.
That's fantastic. How did you guys decide that you wanted to, like, I mean, was there a conversation between you and your wife about let's make these into bachelorette houses or anything like that?
Yeah, we actually had a father and a daughter that both bought houses, and the daughter bought a pink house. It was really cute, beach views, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. And, when my wife gets a vision for design, it's just her vision. So we said, hey, this is what we're thinking. What do you think? And she was like, I'm open to it. Like, I trust you. I've seen what you guys do. So go do it. So we created a space and did a girls theme and took a walk-in closet and put like 4 vanity mirrors with chairs and tables for a good get ready room and, neon lights and stuff like that. And that house, I think she bought it for $749 in last year. We didn't do the redesign until September, but we are on track for 160 plus K this year. We have over 100K on the books already.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love everything about the fact that, like, I love bachelorette houses, honestly. I think they're super fun to go to because the design is always so much more playful, and there's a lot of great classic ones out there, and there's a lot of dumpy ones. So
Yeah, I mean, and we obviously made them beachy, right? It's bachelorette with palms and different things like that. Like it's kind of a happy medium to make it completely bachelorette. Families are still staying in our house, so it's not just for the girls' trips. So we kind of tried to attract a little bit of both.
awesome. That's great. So can you tell me a little bit about what does hospitality look like to you? What makes you guys stand out from everybody else when it comes to your hospitality?
I'm going to say it's going to really, I mean, we do such a great job on the interior design, but the exterior, I think, is where the hospitality comes out the most. And I'm going to share a house. So we did a house in May of 24, I think it was. And we did the backyard. We added the pool and a pergola and putting green and cornhole boards and, turfed the whole thing. Beautiful backyard. And we had a review about 4 or 5 months ago, and the review said, we come down to Panama City Beach every year for the last decade, and we always get a really nice house. And at the end of the beach day, everybody goes to their rooms and has a good time. But because of the experience that Joe created in the backyard, our family put our phones down and created the most amazing memories on this trip, and we are coming back every year now.
I love everything about that. That's exactly what we love, right? Like as an owner, as a co-host, anything, you're just like, "Oh my gosh, could there be a better compliment?"
And and
I
it's the outdoor space, right? I mean, when you're at the beach, if you're not beachfront, which none, who's affording beachfront or who's cash flowing beachfront? So we're all 1 to 3, 1 to 4 blocks from the beach. So what do you do at 3 or 4 o'clock when you get back from the beach? If you're not at a condo with a bunch of amenities, it is creating that outdoor space, and that's what we really focus on, and that's what I help my investors find is what houses they can find that they can create that outdoor space because that's what's going to set them apart.
That's so awesome. And you just talked about helping your investors find. You want to really quick talk about what I mean, we're talking about co-hosting, we're talking about all this other stuff, but you have something else that's kind of unique too.
Yeah, so I'm a realtor for the Savvy Emerald Coast, but and I'll be honest, one of the greatest things about co-hosting in my market and I have properties on the East, Central, and West End is it gives me the pulse of the market. So when I have an investor call me and say, okay, I have a 700K budget or a 900K budget, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, I can show them real comps, not just AirDNA, numbers or, scrape data. I can pull real reports from real properties and show them before and afters because we're doing it. Like we're in the market doing it. And that's going to help them understand what they have to do to their property to get to that top tier level because you can't be average anymore. You have to stand out in this market. And it doesn't matter, I hate the word saturation, but we are fully saturated in a bunch of average properties. But if you can stand out, you can be a top 10% in Disney or the Smokies or PCB or wherever it is you want to go if you go in and do what needs to be done.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say things like this. So sorry, Jody, if you ever hear this and I'm not supposed to, but I'm calling this basic bitchery and I'm so sick of basic bitchery when it comes to short-term rentals. And specifically just what you're talking about. It's like every market is saturated in some way, shape, or form. How do we stand up? How can we stand out more than anybody else? And you're doing that with, outside amenities, with good design, with all of these things, because a lot of people are good at communications. A lot of people can provide that stuff, but there's still the next level that why does anybody even click the listing? If they don't click the listing, you're never going to be able to show them that you have great hospitality. So
scroll stopping photos. If you don't have scroll stopping photos, you're not profitable. That's it.
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So tell me, when you typically sell real estate to people in the Emerald Coast, how often are you taking on one of their properties? Are you helping a lot more people find places and then they go off onto their own, or what does that look like?
I actually have a policy I will not manage for anyone I sell to. So
Cool.
I like to keep the businesses separate. If you want to use me as your realtor, I'm happy to help you find a great property. I'm going to teach you how to self-manage it. We have a full training program that we offer through Savvy. And we're kind of upgrading it now with school and creating a really great space for everyone. But if you want me to co-host and redesign, that's a different process, right? I don't like to mix. I don't want to be the person that found the house, designed the house, managed the house, and then you come back 2 years later and say, well, you said it was going to do 125 and it did 119 and it's your fault. I don't even want to even be involved in that. And I can have two separate businesses and keep them separate.
Honestly, I think that's amazing because you're right. A lot of people that do what you're doing it with the Savvy world go completely it's all the way. It's kind of we start here and then we end up here. Are there any people that still try to do that or maybe start like I'm amazed that you say no. Like you essentially just say no. Like if I'm selling it to you, I don't want to have anything to do with the rest of it.
Yep, I don't even let my wife design for my clients. So I recommend a Sheeta or a Page or, any of these other designers that are out there. We just keep our businesses separate and it keeps it clean. And I don't need to take my hands and put it in the purse of a client and every single step of the way and try to take a little bit of everything. We can win and also have great partners across the board and be able to refer that business out to other partners.
Oh, I love the kind of short-term rental person that you are. Like this is like so heartwarming in the fact that because there's a lot of people that they don't feel shady, but they kind of feel shady or they're guru-y or whatever the heck. And, everybody wants to maximize every single step. And you're honestly, it's different. Like talking to a person like you, this is literally a different conversation. And it helps with stereotypes. I come into these kinds of interviews thinking like, I just don't know. I don't know very much about the people I'm interviewing, which is fantastic. But there's stereotypes about like people that sell short-term rentals and maybe they do all the things. And it's not everybody, but there are stereotypes about it. And you're literally a completely different mold. And I love this.
Yeah.
Kudos.
It's, we learned early on, or we kind of wrote down early on, what are our goals? What are, how we want to create our business? And we've stuck to it. And I've probably turned down at least 30, maybe even 40 properties on people that wanted me to manage because either it didn't fit our portfolio or they didn't want they didn't want to invest in their property or whatever it may be. Or
Mhm.
there's been a couple that just the people were jerks and I just didn't want to work for them. Like, I want good owners. I want a good partnership when it's all said and done. And
Mhm.
the other part of that on the real estate side, I've probably talked more people out of buying short-term rentals in the past 3 years than people buying short-term rentals because they've come in and they're like, I want to buy a short-term rental. I need it to be turnkey and I need a 20% and I want to hire a manager. And I'm like, look, it's not 2019 anymore. I can't do that for you anymore, but I can teach you what you need to do to be successful. And a lot of times they say, you know what, you're right. Maybe I should just invest in the stock market or long-term rentals or something else because it wasn't the right fit for them. And I really want to make sure they understand what they're getting into because I've seen too many people fail at this business. And I would
Mhm.
rather talk them out of something that they're going to fail in than sell them something just to get a sale.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate the integrity that you have in your business because it's not easy. It's not always easy when there's dollars like coming at you and sometimes even at a very fast rate. So kudos to keeping your integrity in your business. It's a pretty big deal, especially in this time of the world.
It
Um,
is.
can you talk to me a little bit more about like, I mean, you talked about the outside amenities or one of your things. Is there anything else in your hospitality business that really stands out that people are like, oh my, like they always comment about it or anything like that?
There's some little things. One of them, I still do all the guest messaging. We are kind of implementing Host Buddy AI to help me when we're traveling or when we have other stuff going on, but I have not outsourced my guest messaging yet to VAs or anything like that. That's my hardest thing to let go
Me
because
too.
I love that personal connection. Like if I get a booking more than $5,000 or $6,000, I'm texting that person with my cell phone and saying, thank you so much, or I'm sending them a welcome video that I just shot really quickly because I want that personal touch with them. It helps
Mhm.
us get great reviews, but it also prevents, people from having frustration because if they do have it, I've made that personal connection and they're like, hey, Joe, this back door is, not working properly or whatever. Great. We can get someone over there, get it taken care of, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
rather than just being just a person and then you have somebody getting frustrated and leaving bad reviews.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. I love the personal video thing. I've heard about people doing things like that, and it makes such a difference on how somebody is going to talk to you. Because, if you're just a name in Airbnb or, on whatever messaging platform, it's hard to be real or how hard to show them like I'm a real human being that owns this house and I actually care about your stay.
Yeah, yeah. And, I'll tell them like, look, hey, we're just a small business. We're trying to get by, and your reviews make a difference for us. So we appreciate your staying and just try to be real. And it goes a long way because people feel more valued than they're just staying at a Vacasa of the world or big property management company place. I even had one of my real estate clients I was showing top properties to earlier this week. He was staying at a condo in PCB, and he messaged me yesterday. He's like, Joe. He's like, you're doing it right. He's like, I'm here at this condo. They left one trash bag, one roll of toilet papers per bathroom. And when I called them and asked them, they said, oh, we just provide a starter set. And I'm
That's not a starter.
that's not even a starter set. Like, starter set is a handful of trash bags, or at least one per day, and
Mhm.
at least two rolls per bathroom at the very minimum. We have luxury homes, so we're leaving enough for the stay. Nobody, when they stay at our houses, they don't need to go to Dollar General and pick up trash bags or toilet paper. We got enough for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I like again, some of this stuff can be so basic, especially when you go to the East Coast where some of these markets have had short-term rentals for 20, 30 years. They don't even provide sheets.
Yeah, I I
Like,
had
no,
someone
we're
in my
lucky.
podcast recently that said Yeah, in my market, how we stood out is people don't have to bring their own sheets. Everybody else that requires you to bring your own sheets. I'm like, holy moly, that's a
Could
different world.
could you imagine? I'm not packing sheets in garbage bags. Like, and I don't want to go buy garbage bags because I don't need 40 of them. Like, I really
Yes.
just need like 5 or 10. Sometimes the bar can be really low, but I think being smart about how we travel. Like, I'm certain, Joe, that you use short-term rentals at some way, in some way, shape, or form. And it's like, well, do I want to bring my own little thing of dish soap? No, not at all. Like, what kinds of things? So sometimes, like, even having to sleuth through Airbnb listings to find a place that provides stuff like that can be, a pleasant surprise.
It is. We actually just booked a trip to take our girls to St. Thomas this summer, and man, the Airbnbs there are so rough. And it's like now we're like, okay, maybe we need to buy one here because nobody's doing what we do here in St. Thomas. Like we could probably crush it in this market. So because man, it was rough trying to find a property that we wanted to stay in.
Yeah, I travel all over the world. That's one of the reasons I got into short-term rentals is because we use them all over the place. And going into some of these other markets is so interesting. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Asia, but going to Thailand and staying in some of theirs, sometimes we got short-term rentals with a person that would cook for you, that would, do turn down service, like all this stuff, and it might be $40 for the night, like personal pool, and they're like, "What do you want for breakfast?" Like, it's wild. And it's interesting to figure out or to see other people do those kinds of things, do other markets, and then see what could you bring there, but B, like what can you bring home that, or what can you appreciate about your own team because they don't, maybe they don't level up somewhere else or something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I try to make it a normal practice. If I go to a short-term rental and the clean wasn't good enough, I give my cleaners bonuses like that day. And it's a small bonus. It's like, hey, ice cream on me or something today, or like, $25, go and have a meal on me because you guys do such a good job. And when I see what other people's standards are, like, you can't always find like the greatest or the cleanest place, and you don't always know unless you look through a lot of reviews. But yeah, I try to use that as a as a time to be like, thank you for doing such a great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me, has there been any times where you had a very difficult guest or a difficult situation that you were able to turn it into, like what would have been a 3-star review, but you were able to turn it into a 5-star? Any examples?
Yeah, I mean, we had our signature property, which is we have three of them now, but a year and a half ago, that was our signature property. It's a 5 bedroom, 5.5 bath, golf front, in-ground pool, hot tub, the whole works. And the guest got there, and this was peak season, so we're doing maintenance checks, but not everything. But they got there, and there were some maintenance issues, which obviously I called my handyman, have them taken care of right away. And then the grill didn't work, so I had to get someone there to take the grill. I was, close by, and then they went to go start cooking, and they were like, "Oh my God, your pots and pans are scratched up." And I was like, "Okay, like this is just not going the right way." So I actually went to Walmart, picked up pots and pans, drove them down there, went and delivered them myself, met with them, shook their hand. They went out back, had a long conversation. They left us an amazing review, and they've already booked for the next year. So turned out a little bit rough in the beginning because it happens in every single property. We all try to do our best, but we're not always perfect, and there's going to be things that happen. Now, this property was a property that the owners gave us some money for budget, but not for some maintenance items. We recently just went in and did like about $10,000 worth of maintenance this past year, so it's kind of back to where it really needs to be. But there were some issues, and that was how we were able to correct it. And I'm not always in town. Believe it or not, my market is Panama City Beach. We live in St. Louis, so
Oh, wow.
so we're going to be moving down there at some point. My daughter graduates high school in May, so I really rely on my team on the ground, not only for helping me show properties when I'm not there, but and helping me sell and inspections. I mean, I traveled there 27 times last year, so it wasn't like I'm not there much. But but my cleaners and my handymen and the team that we've built down there, I mean, that's really the most important thing. We take care of them. We, not just bonus them, but just really make sure they understand how grateful we are for their services. And to a point now that I can call my handyman at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, and he'll be at a house in 20 minutes. Like, we've built that relationship enough to where if I really was in a bind, he would be there.
Yeah, I think that makes such a difference. Like who will drop everything for my business when it's me making money and things like that. So showing people that appreciation and just figuring out different ways to, whether it's a bonus or whether it's just like literally telling them, it's really beautiful how many I like that about hospitable host specifically is, we already know how meaningful it is to get the guests the best experience, but also the team members that work for us. Like we
Yeah.
want to have people that are here for a long time that can help with us or help us with all these things, whether we're in town or not. So I love that.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so wrapping up here, tell me, what does elevating hospitality mean to you personally?
I mean, at the end of the day, every single person that stays in one of our properties saved for a year or 6 months their hard-earned money, and this could be their only vacation, right? I mean, we are in the hospitality industry, we're in the short-term rental industry. Sometimes we take it for granted that we are providing a experience and a vacation for a family for 1 week that they really worked hard to be able to do. So for me, it's trying to create that best experience that we possibly can. It's interesting. I was on a flight a couple months ago, and I was next to a couple, and they were just married. They were coming down for their honeymoon. They've never vacationed before. They've never been to Florida before. They've never stayed in an Airbnb before. And I was just listening, next to them in some of their conversation. And it really made me sit back and think, like, this is our avatar, right? This is the guests that are staying at our property. And for some of these, every person that stays there could be their first time ever staying at an Airbnb or a VRBO. And our experience could decide if they're going to continue in the future or if they're going to be like, I'm going back to a hotel. And I really take that to heart because we truly want to provide that great experience to everyone that comes. And I think that's the most important thing. I think we forget we're in the hospitality business in this industry sometimes. And at the end of the day, that's all we're doing. We're just trying to create great guest experiences.
What a beautiful way to end. Like, couldn't say it any friggin' better. Joe, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, for real estate services because they have something in PCB, where do they find you?
I am very active on social media, Facebook, Joe Rohne, Rohne. You can find me, follow me, friend request me. Very, very active on there. If you want to schedule a call with me, Joe at savvy.realty. You can schedule a call with me. We can talk about co-hosting. We can talk about real estate. It doesn't matter. If you want to hop on a 20, 30-minute call, free call just to chat, I'm happy to do that. And I used to have a coaching program, a co-host coaching program, and a little mastermind that I did. And I really enjoy helping people in this industry. One of the things I love about this industry is that everybody is so helpful, right? This is like a industry that everybody is, in an abundance mindset that nobody else has to lose for us to win. And we can all be winners in this space and all be successful in this space. And everybody in this industry, since I've joined it 4 years ago, has all been so helpful. And yeah, some of them are paid programs, some of them are not, but it doesn't matter. You can call most people up in this industry and they're happy to have a conversation. And I want to continue to do that and provide value to anyone that wants to get into it because it has been life-changing for us and it can be life-changing for anyone out there listening as well.
That's awesome. Well, listeners, I hope you got something out of today. I can't imagine you didn't. I have so many notes in front of me. So reach out to Joe if you have anything, but no matter what, follow him. I'll throw a couple of things in the show notes about his properties if you want to book any, if you're going to PCB. And thanks for listening. Thanks, Joe, for the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for this episode of the Global Hospitality Collective podcast. If today's conversation made you think, inspired you, or just reminded you why hospitality matters, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Next week, our panel, Helen, Rose, Debbie, and myself are back, and we're going beyond the listings and the tech, diving headfirst into real stories, the hard decisions, and yes, all those weird and wacky guest experiences you won't believe are true. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep hosting with heart. See you next time.